Welcome back, boys and girls, to another lesson with Miss Brown. I don't have Olivia helping me today, so hopefully I can do it all by myself and do a good job. All right, so today your story is from Raz Kids, The Great Lemon Bake-Off. And this week I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing 3 mini lessons, going over, or maybe for the first time, teaching you some new skills. And you're going to be able to do some independent practice at home. So for this activity, for this lesson, you're going to have access to your internet. The Great Lemon Bake-Off is going to be in your assignments, and you will need these 3 sheets that I gave to you in a packet. If not, I sent it as an attachment email. This activity is on sequencing. This activity is on adding quotation marks. And this activity is on forming compound words. Okay, so let's begin. So the story, The Great Lemon Bake-Off, is about 2 cousins, Skylar and Trey, and they spend 2 weeks out of the summer with their grandparents. And on this one summer, they decide to have a baking competition to see who can make the best lemon bars. All right, so 3 skills that we're going to work on. In your writing books, if you have space, I want you to write the title, The Great Lemon Bake-Off. I'm going to write the definition of the word sequence. So I know that we've talked about sequence before. Do you remember what sequence means? What does it mean to sequence? Okay, so I have the definition right here. So sequence is when you put events placed in order. All right, so let me actually just block some of this. Let me block it so it's not too much information. So sequence just means when you place events in order. So you can use transition words. Transition words help you move from one event to the other. So you might say first, something, something, something. Next, something, something, something. Then, and then finally. So these words help keep you on track. It's really good to be able to use this skill sequencing because it helps you understand the story a bit better. You can kind of keep on track of what happened. What happened in certain places in the story. So at this point, you can put me on pause to get the definition written down, the title written down, and then also the definition of sequence, and then the transition words. I'll move you a little bit closer. Make this a little bit closer in case it's a little bit blurry. Okay, so you put me on pause at this point to get the definition written down. Okay. So for the first activity, what you have to do is that after you have these definitions written down, you have to go back in the story after you listen to it and read it to figure out the sequential events of creating a recipe. So Trey followed his own recipe, Skylar followed her own recipe. Pick one of these children, and I want you to write the sequential steps of their lemon bars. Okay, so this is the beginning. So you would write first, and what the first step is, next, and what the next step is, then, and what the next step is, and then finally, what the last step is. Okay, very straightforward. All right. The next skill that we are going to be talking about is using quotation marks. All right, so whenever you are using dialogue in a story, so dialogue is what someone speaks. Whenever you are using dialogue, you have to use quotations around what the person says. So some teachers might do this. So it might be 2 little lines. I like to use a 66 and a 99. So I like to use 66 at the beginning and the 99 at the end. So have a look down below here. The title is 3 ways to use quotation marks. So there are 3 ways that you can use quotation marks. At the beginning, at the end, or on both sides. Okay? So at this point, you can put me on pause just to write the title, 3 ways to use quotation marks. And then we'll have a look at the ways. Okay, so I'm going to give you the same sentence each time, but we're going to be using quotation marks at different places. So, quotation marks only go around the actual words spoken. You're only putting quotations around the actual words spoken. If there are any punctuation marks, like a comma, a period, exclamation, the quotations go around this, okay? But you have to put quotations around what somebody says. So, first sentence at the beginning. The car is red, he said. Well, opening quotation marks go in front of the first word spoken. So I like to put a little 66. The car is red, he said. A comma comes after the word read, and then you put closing quotation marks. He said, and then a period. Okay, so the only tricky part here is just remember that this comma goes in front of the closing quotation marks. Let's see what else we notice. The beginning of a sentence, you have to have a capital letter. Okay, that's something you should remember. All right, at the end, so now it's the same sentence, but I switched around a little bit. He said, the car is red. Okay, so he said, so nobody's talking yet, so we don't need quotations. The first word spoken is the. So we have to put a comma after said, opening quotations. The car is red. Full stop, and the little 99 closing quotations. The last one is probably the trickiest. This is when you put quotations on both sides. Okay, so you kind of break up what somebody's saying. So, both sides. The car, he said, is red. The only words spoken are the car and is red. So we have to have quotations around that part, but not this middle part. So this is what it looks like. Opening quotations, the car, comma, closing quotations, he said, comma. Opening quotations again is red, full stop, closing quotations. Notice, the only thing I want you to notice here is that for the second opening quotation, you don't have a capital letter. So that is lowercase. All right, so it can be a little bit tricky using quotation marks. That's why practice is good. So all of these are just practice exercise. I know that Mr. Campbell has taught you this already, but this is just some more practice review. So on this sheet, these are actually words spoken by the characters in the story. All you have to do is just read through the passage and then put your quotation marks in. So pay attention to the punctuation. Remember, if it's a comma or exclamation point, the closing quotation has to come after it. So as soon as somebody starts talking, opening quotation marks, the 66 I like to use, closing quotation marks at the end of what they say. All right? And the last activity, very straightforward, compound words. So what is a compound word? Come up a little bit. So a compound word is when you have two words and you put them together to make a brand new word. So there is a word bank here. All you have to do is read through the passage, and then wherever you find a space, think about what happened in the story and then create a compound word to fit in the space. Okay, and then go all the way through. Okay, so what you can do, what I want you to do now is I want you to go and listen to the story, The Great Lemon Bake Off. If you want to read it first, you can. Complete these activities, and then once you're done, you can answer the comprehension questions. Okay, so this is just a review week. So all of these activities should be things that you've done in class, but this will just be a review just to sharpen your skills. All right, so we're going to be doing 3 stories this week. This is story number 1. I will see you for story number 2. Talk to you soon. Bye.